Oh. Oh no! Me voy a matar, te me último. Uy. Me voy a matar. I reckon I got the quickest egg peel and egg swallow of a hard-boiled egg on TikTok. No cracks. Let's get this going. Got some water? Here we go. Oh my gosh! That didn't work! I thought I was gonna die!
Hey, Dad.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Okay, what's your question?
Why do girls rub their eyes when they wake up?
Why do girls rub their eyes when they wake up?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because they have no balls to scratch.
Mum?
Yeah?
Can you pass me a loo roll, please?
Alright, hang on.
Ta.
Oh, God! Oh my God, is that what I think it is? Oh, stick!
It's Marmite!
Ooh, my baby looking bad. Ooh, what you doing? You just got done your makeup?
I'm not done yet.
You not done yet?
I still haven't put on my lashes.
Man, you look...
Oh my God! Oh, Mom! Hey, move your hand! Move your hand! Is this pee-pee in there? Oh my God! Oh my God, he's having sex with my hair! Oh my God, he's having sex with my hair! Don't repeat! Ah!
Ready? Filming? Oh. Putain!
Perfetto!
Happy Friday, Camp Quarantine. You guys have made it. Thank you so much for joining us here on yet another episode of our absolutely wonderful, one-of-a-kind variety show. For those of you joining us for your first time, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm your host, Amrit B. from Hustle and Hospitality, and we have been at this now. This meaning, yes, the quarantine. This meaning Camp Quarantine, this wonderful weekly special now. 35 weeks. We started all the way back in March, towards the end of March. So we have been here almost 9 months, but yet another month, yet another year. If you didn't join us last week was something special. It was our first episode of the new year. Things are a little bit different here. We took some time to address kind of what's going on in the world a little bit, and thanking all of our viewers. But if again, this is your first time joining us, we do welcome you. Do us a favor. I don't know how you found out about us, but thank you so much. Drop us a subscribe if you're watching us today on January 15th, or in the future if you guys are watching it, because it'll live on YouTube and Facebook for some time. So whenever you're watching it, give us a follow at campquarantine.co on our Instagram. And thanks for all who have supported us each and every week. Now, a little bit about how this works. We're a variety show. So we talk about things that are going on in the news. It's live. We're live here. So we want to interact with you. Drop us a comment below. We will continue to want to hear about where you're from, what you've been up to during the quarantine, and how you are enjoying the outdoors. All right. Well, give you a little bit of background about the show. I don't think anything could be better than really seeing how far we've come. If you guys have seen this before and been with us a while, we appreciate you sticking through. But take a look at kind of all our episodes.
It's Friday. Hello, hello, hello. Happy Friday. You guys have made it. Another wonderful week. Welcome to Camp Quarantine. Welcome to our backyard. Welcome to Camp Quarantine. I'm your host, Amrit B. Appreciate it. It is May. Folks, we have lasted into 3 months. Friday, June 19th. Happy Juneteenth. Cannot say how thrilled I am to have you all here. We have an exciting slate of guests. We just wrapped on our 14th episode of Camp Quarantine. Really appreciate all those who have tuned in. Today is July the 3rd. That just blows my mind. We just cannot contain my excitement here. We have made it. So hopefully you guys are finding the good in this entire situation, and that's certainly what we're trying to bring forth here.
So the good in this situation. Now, who thought this situation would have progressed quite the way it has? Things that we left behind in 2020 have, joined us a little bit in 2021. But if this is your first time, this guy is kind of our holy grail. We like to celebrate every day here at Camp Quarantine. Let me get this guy fixed, or we'll deal with that a little bit later. But yeah, today, let's take a look. Today is January the 15th. Lots going on today. It is obviously National Soup Month, National Bath Safety Month, Braille Literacy Month. But today itself happens to be National Bagel Day. I don't know any of you there that love bagels, but any of you that do love dad jokes, we've got quite a few for you. So let's start off with one simple. What kind of bagel can fly? Why, a plain bagel, of course. Live audience is not here today, but for those of you watching, if you like it, drop us a comment, give us a like, leave some feedback. We want to hear from you. Where are you watching? But today it's National Bagel Day. What is your favorite bagel? I don't even really enjoy bagels that much, but I wanted to delve a little bit deeper into understanding some unique aspects of this traditional breakfast item. So here, talk a little bit more. Here's some things that you may have never known about bagels.
Number 1, you don't have to boil them due to the steam in the oven. Number 2, the longer the fermentation, the better the taste. Number 3, you don't need sugar. Honey and malt can be used as natural sweetener.
This is going to be messy.
Yes.
Just a little bit of honey, just a few quarts.
Yeah. Number 4, bagels have a hole so that you can hang it. You want to roll the dough in the middle, then you're gonna take the bagel in your hand, you're gonna wrap it around, and then you're gonna press the edge together, and you're gonna roll them together. And then right here, you have a bagel.
This is fun. I'm gonna do 700 of these.
Number 5, you don't need to be from New York to make good bagels.
So I hope you learned something over there about some bagels. I usually like them, like I mentioned, in the sky, so plain, of course. But how about another question here for you? What kind of bagel do you think a Jamaican person likes? Cinnamon! All right, that's enough for the dad jokes. Hopefully we got some laughs. I can see some of our guests already getting a little warmed up over there. This is not a comedy hour, but hey, it could be. Contribute your own. Maybe we'll bring you on as well. But, the real reason for Camp Quarantine, just to take you back, is each and every week and each and every month, we have been highlighting a nonprofit, a wonderful cause that we'd like to spotlight and encourage all of you, our viewers, to contribute to, donate to. And we have raised funds for a slew of different organizations, actually, during our 9 months being on air. Some of those include one of my favorites, the Big Brothers Big Sisters organization. It actually January happens to be National Mentor Month. So if you've got a mentor, reach out to them, try and figure out a way to virtually connect with them in some capacity. We've raised some money for Center for Disaster Philanthropy and their COVID relief efforts. We have worked with the Color of Change, one of the largest digital social injustice platforms, as well as Charity Miles. Well, this month, as we mentioned, January, actually happens to be National Sex Trafficking and Child Trafficking Prevention Month. So to talk a little bit more about the organization that we are supporting, that'd be Hope for Justice. We're gonna chat about that in just a bit, but we'll get to some of that in just a little while. But how does Camp Quarantine work? Of course, we're raising funds, but we're so much about featuring and spotlighting people that are doing good in the world and contributing in their very own ways each and every month and staying positive during this pandemic. So much of that is about really just carrying yourself in a positive regard. And that's what we're here to do and promote each and every. Our first guest, I'm so excited to bring aboard, not too far, but here in Atlanta, Georgia, in our small business spotlight, Mr. Neil Shastri with Vibe City Entertainment. Neil, how are you? Happy Friday, Neil.
What's up, man? Happy Friday.
What is your favorite kind of bagel? Do you have a preference for?
I'm a sucker for Asiagos from
Asiagos.
Wow. What is that? Panera, or we call it St. Louis Bread Company back home.
Well, talk to us. Where is home for you? What have you been up to during the pandemic? And then we'll certainly get into Vibe City in a bit. But chat with us a little bit about, man, we've been trying to get you on for actually some time. I shared my vision for Camp Quarantine with you all the way back in March, just when, the pandemic was kind of starting. So I don't know if you've been keeping tabs, but I've been keeping tabs on you and very excited to talk about your new venture. But share with us a little bit what's been keeping you busy here the last few months, Neil.
So for the past few months, I've been back from St. Louis, actually. Most of my family is from St. Louis. I was spending the quarantine with them, and then I came back to Atlanta ready to kind of jump back into the creative world, and I met some really cool people. One of them is a performer that I knew from an old job back in St. Louis, but I met him and his partner, and we started producing some stuff together through their a dance studio they work at, and we got to working together in Vibe City, which is kind of like a product of us working together and realizing that we can all we all can create really cool stuff together.
So you said you're from St. Louis. Take us back a little bit, and then we'll chat more about kind of your new venture with your partners. And it looks like they're going to be able to join us today. They're so busy. It looks like they're on board here. So looking forward to having some more guests here. But talk to us kind of how have things been for you. Your background now, Neil, is in creative areas. Talk to us about that and how that may have shifted over the last few months and how that may have evolved certainly into Vibe City, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so my background, I guess, career-wise, is I have a degree from visual effects from the Savannah College of Art and Design. And after college, I started doing graphic design. So I worked at a theater company. Actually, I'm wearing one of the shirts I made for them. But they're a musical theater company in St. Louis. It's actually where I met one of my partners. And I did graphic design and websites work, merchandise, and advertising, a bunch of cool stuff like that. But that's kind of like what brought me to Atlanta. I had an art director role at a company here for the first year or so, and then I'm now working at another agency as just, a graphic designer, visual designer. And then after what I was talking about before about when I came back to Atlanta in September, I was like, I really miss performing, and I know there are a lot of creative people right now who can't do what they love to do because of the pandemic. Performers can't perform, and there's some really cool ways how people are keeping art alive regardless of the situations of the world. So yeah, that's kind of how it's evolved. I've realized that I really love performing. I grew up a performer back in the day: ballet, tap, jazz, dancing, singing and acting. And it's kind of like a long lost love that I've been able to like rejuvenate through some recent events. So yeah.
Now, I'm going to stop you here before we bring on, I guess, your partners, because I want to talk a little bit about our parent company here with Camp Quarantine, and that being Hustle and Hospitality. And what that means is so many different people that are involved are many things. But what I was most excited about when I met you was I think you kind of had those same tenets. You always exuded that same philosophy of, kind of shirt off my back, rising tide raises all ships. That philosophy I know you carry through.
Yeah.
And anybody that I think you meet in any instance, I think that truly does have that authentic hustle and hospitality nature is going to shine through in any interaction. And we were privileged to kind of meet and get to know each other in the same way. It sounds like you got to know your partners,
yeah.
And that's with one of the individuals that we featured on our very first Camp Quarantine. So back in March on episode 1, if those of you guys are watching, you want to click at campquarantine.co. You can view all the previous episodes or on our YouTube channel. But Stephen Beeler, the founder of Roll Call, and what he was creating. So if you're interested in that, they're doing things they're growing leaps and bounds, and also into different avenues. But it's really just a testament to kind of the hard work that's paying off, even amidst the pandemic, amidst kind of obstacles. And I think you exude that as well. So without further ado, I'd love to talk a little bit about more Vibe City Entertainment, and I will bring on your two partners if you'll do me a favor and also introduce them for us, Neil.
So, excuse me, my two partners are extremely talented individuals. They're both performers from musical theater and rappers, dancers, actors, all that stuff. They're doing very notable works and just extremely creative. And one is Monica Garcia Bradley, and two, Danny Tony Bevins. I think they had to turn the cameras on, but so Danny, while we wait, Danny is a really, really talented rapper. That's how we actually met and started working together. He has a rap songs all over Spotify, about I think 30 plus tracks. They're really phenomenal. He works with a team of, I think, very prestigious musicians. I think one of his editors is from OK Go, the band, and I think one of his artists that makes the beats is works with people like Drake and whatnot. So he's very well connected, very talented, and he's got this music video that we've all been working on producing together through Decatur School of Ballet, where he and Monica actually teach and choreograph. So it kind of gives local students who have been neglected the opportunity to perform during the pandemic a chance to be a part of something that's really kind of unique and creative. So I think it's 25 minutes of dance film with Danny's rap music and kids from all different ages performing in the background, and it's just a kind of like a cool eclectic way of combining arts from like the local scene in Atlanta and like promoting creativity across the board. And like the first line you'll see on our website is the gold standard of creative energy. So I think that's kind of the mission and vibe that we'll try to bring to the table. They keep coming in and off.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if his connection's in or out or what, but we're trying to pull him up. But I did share with everybody there, y'all's here. I'll pull it up again. This is y'all's page, your newly launched your site here, vibecityent.com. So talk to us about what you've been up to and kind of what your vision is, and maybe even a way that the pandemic may even play a part. I understand Vibe City. Talk to us about the name to start, because that's so much about who you are. And then if you don't mind talking about that kind of gold standard.
So Vibe City pretty much came from, I think, so much negativity in the world right now. And like, especially the past, few months, there's a definite need for like unity. We're not looking to speak to any type of one person. We're looking to kind of elevate the collective energy of performers and anybody that has like a creative idea or inspiration. We want to bring them together and do phenomenal things together. So some of our services that we'll provide right off the bat would be content creation. That's a big thing. So let's say you're a writer or an actor, let's say you have an idea for like a skit that you really want to make happen. You would come to us and we would have the resources, the equipment, the know-how, and I guess the energy to bring it all together. Monica is a recurring character on Tyler Perry's show Sisters on BET, and she's producing a film right now. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say the name of the film, but it's really amazing the work that she's been doing. And both of them, as performers and actors, have an extremely vast sense of knowledge that they bring to the table. And the whole idea that we would just keep producing and creating in a time where that's really people are not allowed to do it. So finding new ways to kind of like swerve on the pandemic, and then whenever that ends, in the ambiguous future, it would be to kind of just keep that energy going no matter what. So
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, I can feel the vibes over here. I want to ask you another question though. So Neil, I've known you obviously before you started Vibe City Entertainment, and I know you just have a lust for life, and I don't just mean that very lightly. What kind of story or newfound good have you seen, or can you share with us here? Maybe it's happened in the last 9 months, or just any parting words before we let you go.
Any type of good. Oh man. I don't want to get too political here because I don't know who your viewers are, but I don't know. Being in St. Louis with my family for 6 months during the pandemic was great. I got to see my family, and that was great. I was there luckily purely by like will, because I still have my job in Atlanta, but I wanted to spend some time with my family. But that was kind of like draining, seeing there's so much negativity in the world. And I came back to Atlanta with just like a clarity on life that is kind of instrumental in what brought me here today. And I think being in Atlanta during this amazing time for this country, seeing a lot of people come together to just do amazing things, to like band together and stand up for positivity and kindness and energy, just kind of like is icing on the cake, and like really good inspiration for why we get up in the morning and why we do what we do. I think you know what I'm saying. So
I do. All right. So Neil, what do you have scheduled for you this weekend? Do you have any plans for? I guess it's a long weekend for many, because Monday is Martin Luther King Day, something that it sounds like you're alluding to, and certainly for many a day on, not a day off. Do you have any volunteer opportunities that you're planning on participating in? I know in Atlanta, obviously, Martin Luther King Jr. Day certainly means a whole lot more.
I personally do not, because I'm looking to stay indoors recently. Still waiting to hear some results from said COVID test, but I know that Danny and Monica do a lot of volunteering at the Toco Hills Community Alliance. They both do a lot of great stuff to the community, helping at that shelter and then rebuilding and painting and all that kind of stuff. Oh, hey, there's my Instagram.
Yeah, how can folks stay abreast with you in general in Vibe City?
For me in general, yeah, check out my Instagram. I'm learning photography. You can check out my page, Snaps by Neil. I also got a TikTok. I'm getting on the TikTok game. We're trying to do a lot of our own creation of sketches in the future. So I think that kind of requires us being in the know-how of what is, trending in terms of comedy and whatnot. But this weekend, to answer your earlier question, a huge part of Vibe City will be merchandise. One of my partners, he has always been really passionate about getting that started, and that's a huge part, passion of mine as well. So hoping to kind of sit down from the computer this weekend and pump out some fancy little, designs, stickers, t-shirts, hoodies, whatever really comes to my mind. So be on the lookout for that.
Well, enjoy the rest of your Friday, Neil. Thank you so much for being with us. I'm ecstatic and all the best with Vibe City. But yeah, folks, follow Neil at Vibe City Entertainment _ATL. That's there, or at Neely By. We had his Instagram up. But Neil, thanks so much. Enjoy the rest of your Friday and continue to stay positive and test negative, right?
Yes. Stay positive, test negative, and feel the vibe.
Thanks so much for being a part. Take care, Neil. So, folks, that is how this works. Every couple of minutes, we've got a new guest, amazing individual doing wonders in their own towns. If you'd like to be featured on an upcoming Camp Quarantine, we encourage you on our Instagram to shoot us a DM at campquarantine.co. But as I mentioned, so much about what we do here isn't because I like to sit here and showcase, our Rolodex of wonderful people. Actually, yeah, it is. But bigger than that, we love to raise money for great organizations. So if you've got one that, really means near and dear to you, or you'd like to help fundraise, well, that's what we hear about Camp Quarantine. And this month, as I mentioned, we are raising awareness because January happens to be National Sex Trafficking, Child Trafficking Prevention Month. And to talk a little bit more about the Hope for Justice organization, I'm going to let them chat about it some more.
In the US alone, 420,000 people are trafficked every year. These traffickers walk amongst us every day, preying on the most vulnerable in our communities, hiding in plain sight. Whilst COVID-19 has devastated many of our lives this year, traffickers have instead used that devastation to increase and innovate strategies to lure more victims into this barbaric crime. 70% of American children use social media multiple times a day, and therefore traffickers see this as an opportunity to target victims online. This month is National Slavery and Human Trafficking Prevention Month. And here at Hope for Justice, we're going to be increasing our work across the United States, taking our award-winning model and scaling it to open new offices and employing more investigators to help protect the most vulnerable in our communities. Our work includes raising awareness of human trafficking, and I want to ask you to help us to spot the signs of human trafficking, which accounts for a large percentage of our referrals and rescues in the United States. You could help us by raising concerns and identifying signs of exploitation. So we need your help. One of the things that I often say, this isn't just someone else's problem. It's our problem. It's happening in our towns, in our neighborhoods, on our streets. And it's time that we raise our voice. It's time that we end this once and for all. It's time to put human trafficking in the history pages where it belongs. This month, raise your voice, create awareness. Let's end human trafficking once and for all.
So I am right now on my phone. I'm headed to hopeforjustice.org. And on behalf of Camp Quarantine, I will be making a donation to this wonderful cause. And if you'd like to do the same, which I encourage you, you can head on over to hopeforjustice.org. I've got it on the screen right there, and you can help change lives and end slavery. On last episode, a few things happened. We certainly talked about what was going on during the the runoff elections and sort of what had gone on in the country, and there are certainly other things occurring throughout the world and an impact that you as a viewer can make, and we encourage you to do that. So we'll continue to draw and allude to donating at hopeforjustice.org throughout the broadcast. But that also brings us to kind of our next guest, but also a little segue, because today not only happens to be National Bagel Day, I wear this hat on every episode, very proud, but today also happens to be National Hat Day. So for the remainder of the broadcast, I'm going to be changing some hats, and I'm going to encourage all our next viewers, our next guests, to be doing the same. And that just brings me to our next guest, who happens to be an adventure enthusiast, an absolute creative marvel, also here in Atlanta, Georgia, and a very close friend. Welcome to Camp Quarantine, Mr. Nate Fleeg. Nate, how are you? Happy Friday, bud.
Got my hat on for you.
Got the Atlanta United hat on. I love it. Happy National Hat Day.
Yeah, happy National Hat Day. Happy to be here.
I gotta say, Nate, aside from being an absolutely, like I said, creative genius, which we'll get to in a second, I see him blushing over there, but he's just an all-around great friend. This gentleman knows how much time I am pouring into our beautiful NRVANA over here, which we're going to get to in just a bit. But I gotta thank him, because in the wintertime, here in Atlanta, at least, because we have so many trees, I have had a squirrel issue for the last number of years, that they've just been slowly eating away at my eaves underneath my roof and scampering across. So Scamper, we're going to get to in just a second. But this gentleman actually has helped me in ridding of my squirrel issues, thanks to his 12-foot and 20-foot ladder that we got to put all the way in the back of NRVANA. So thank you, Nate, for lending me your amazing tools. And you have a plethora of tools. Can you talk to me about kind of what you've been up to during quarantine and sort of your creative endeavors?
Yeah, so it's kind of nice. Every time I do a project, I think I've gotten a new tool, even if I didn't necessarily need it. I'm working on new barn doors in my house, so I literally just picked up a new router today. So it's kind of half the fun of starting a project is buying a new tool.
So you've amassed obviously quite a few then, but I want to talk about your individual projects. You have been staying very busy and tinkering around the house, I guess I might say, throughout. And I just know that strictly because I can't tap quick enough on my phone every time I see a finished project, and that's just the truth. So I'm going to pull up some photos, I guess, if that's cool, of some of your projects. If you want to talk about some of them, or how you got into your hobby, and I know this is just that, a hobby for you, but if you want to take us back, whether it be I know you've got a lot of stories to share, so I'll let you chat.
Yeah, it sometimes feels like a mix between a second job and a hobby. It feels like a hobby at the start. When you're about 75% of the way through, and that last 25% is really, really hard to finish, it starts to feel like a bit more of a job. But we figured, in a very, very, very rough sense, just in labor costs for doing projects ourselves, we've saved roughly 50 grand based on the two major projects. Is we've got a 1959 house. Everything was pretty well up to date, but the one bathroom was completely original, and really it was two extremely small bathrooms back to back, 1959 original, like mustard yellow walls, mustard yellow tub, leaking like crazy. And so to start off, we paid someone to do a small extension of the house, but then from the studs up, we did all the work. So we were able to take what would have been a very simple bathroom construction, will run you $15,000 to $20,000. We were able to do it, all the labor ourselves, and roll the scope and the materials into much higher end stuff. So instead of doing a super basic bathroom for 15 grand, we could do an extravagant bathroom with almost all marble tile, really big tub. Like it's hard to tell, but that is a huge tub.
Extravagant doesn't even cut it. If you take a look at some of these final images that you have, wow, this is straight out of a magazine, Nate. I mean, Southern Living should be up in your house like around the clock, shooting their like spring and summer catalogs, because it's just divine. Look at the details and the textures. And I mean, how did you decide this? I mean, where did you learn this? Is this, aside from just the ability to save money, which I get, there's a DIY bug that I know comes with it too. And is absolutely the reason why we've tackled this for our van project. But how do you get started? Because everyone's kind of like story behind that is unique. And I mean, I knew you from our alma mater at Georgia Tech, but some of the stuff you've shown me or done since then, it doesn't even do justice to, I think, like, I can't even say that you learned it in school, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, it's funny. You talk about me being creative, and I've always heard people say that. But in my mind, I kind of feel like imposter syndrome a little bit, because I think I'm just really good at seeing other people's projects and going, that would look really, really good at my house. So I'm never really doing too much from scratch. I'm really just, I've got a good eye at seeing things I like and recreating them, which, you still have to be a little bit creative to make it fit to your space. But for the most part, I just think I have a good eye knowing when something's going to look good in my house, if I can see it somewhere else first. So like, when I see like a rundown house, I think, oh, that'd be cool to flip. And then I'm like, I don't know where I would start. But it's so much less intimidating when, for me, it's like a bathroom. I can go, oh, well, I would never know how to redo this whole house, but I'm seeing this space now in my head. I've got my 5 checklists. I want a double vanity. We saw on Instagram, some Instagram account had a sunroof, a skylight with a shower head right in the middle, and I was like, yeah, we're definitely going to do that. So none of these things I knew how to do in advance, but with YouTube, it's like I don't quite understand how people were so manly and constructive before YouTube, because with YouTube I go, I want to put in a sunroof. I don't know how to do that. Well, I'll YouTube it. Oh, okay. Here's 25 videos that tell me how to seal a shower, that tell me how to put in a skylight, tell me how to cut a roof, tell me how to, like, I replumbed the entire house because it was 60-year-old cast iron that was leaking. So like everything there, every project I learned from scratch, but I've got that leg up of YouTube.
Now, the only thing that I can say that has really hindered my progress, thanks to YouTube, is the analysis paralysis. So there's, I don't know, 15 different people that do it 25 different ways, and each of them have a very opinionated effort about why it should be done that way. And heaven forbid you should post your own videos. The stuff that we post, oh gosh, I get comments all the time. And what's even better is, there's keyboard crusaders, they say, but there's so much more, like, I guess I need an alliteration to go along with it, but there's essentially heroes that come to your rescue, right? You don't even have to touch it. Anyways, Nate, I'm going to pull up a few more images here. Like you don't just redo bathrooms in your gorgeous home. I mean, you have constructed stuff that are these are all scrap pieces you had mentioned to me that you found, right?
Yeah, this one's scrap pieces. This is actually something long term I'd like to get off the ground. I paid a guy with a CNC router to make this in a flat pack. So long term, I'd love to, I call them space horses, so I wouldn't get in trouble, hopefully. But they're essentially, I'll admit it, just tauntauns. I made this for my first nephew, and I made this out of old butcher block. But basically, you can make this whole thing in a flat pack, where it's just 2D cutout plywood, some bolts, what you would call it, an all-thread rod, and you can build the whole thing yourself. The hard part is painting it to make it look pretty. The actual assembly is not too bad.
Now, today we're going to get into it as we share a little bit more about our state of Nirvana in a bit. But I actually visited 2 different hardware stores today that I'd never been to previously. I shouldn't say never, but had been familiar with, but it really never encrusted. Do you have a go-to? What is your space, whether it be online or you're a Lowe's at Home Depot guy? Are you? I mean, being in Atlanta, do you have to pay homage to the Big Orange, or like where do you normally source your materials from? And the reason I ask that also is because I know so much about what we do on the show, and what you were talking about is repurposed, and we have featured in the past on other Tech Alums Life Cycle Building Center. Have you visited there before? Is that inspiration ever for you?
So I want to go to Life Cycle. I used to go to Restore quite a bit. And in fact, what was really nice about Restore was a lot of the stuff I took out of the existing bathrooms were still perfectly usable, good stuff. So I would take it to Restore so I wouldn't have to throw it away. They would then resell it, which is like Habitat for Humanity Restore. And then usually while I was there, I would buy something else. But a lot of the stuff, the analysis by paralysis you were talking about, when you finally buy something to start the build, it feels like a weight's taken off, because I'll plan for weeks and weeks and weeks, and then I'll analyze my plan, and then I'll triple analyze my plan. And then when I finally put the money down to buy the tile, it's like, okay, decision's done, it's bought. But yeah, that's my go-to for just finding weird stuff, was always Restore. I've got Home Depot stock, but I usually go to Lowe's because it's a little bit closer. But I like both of them. I just went to Home Depot last weekend. No, it was Lowe's last weekend to buy this ambrosia maple, and that's my new project. I took out some really ugly, cheap bifold doors, and I'm replacing them with bypass barn doors. And hopefully, I'm going to make them look really, really nice. I've got the frame, but now I've got to find something to make it fill in the center, but still look very nice.
So one thing that really I'm enamored by is every time you're talking about this, your excitement level just goes up, and that's true in any true person's project. There's times where that frustration comes out, and you're just like, I don't care what time it is. I don't care that I can go to sleep, get better rest, and finish this tomorrow. But knowing that you go to bed with that done, that feeling is just so cumbersome. And I've kind of asked this a few ways, but how do you get that bug? How do you become somebody who feels confident in that? Is it YouTube? But you mentioned you've been doing this for some time, so I know it's not something that's really newfound. But what we like to do on the show is certainly present different opportunities and different interests, and really that exposure. So we've had people that have been skydiving, doing all kinds of just unique hobbies. I think this is just the same way. How does one get into it? Are there good resources that you can go to, or places aside from YouTube you think to get people their feet wet, or a small project that you may have started with that you would recommend?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously it helps having kind of a family background. My dad was a technician, always loved doing tools. If you want to get into it though, I would suggest, without just saying YouTube, depending on what you're going to do, look for ideas and start looking for things on Instagram is also great. So like, for instance, with tiling, it's very easy to put tiles up. It's very hard to put tiles up correctly that are going to last 100 years and that are not going to leak. So you want to make sure you're not just figuring out the quickest way to do things. It's sort of like you never just hire the cheapest contractor. You never do the quickest thing. You want to make sure you're not overanalyzing, but you want to make sure you kind of know what are the potential downfalls if I do this wrong. And then you also got to realize sometimes good enough is good enough. If there's a certain point where like no one's going to notice that little tiny defect, I might, but no one else will. Yeah.
All right. So Nate's a perfectionist, but we're going to switch gears a little bit, because when you're outdoors, you can't be. You're a little bit MacGyver too. Nate has shares that enthusiasm and affinity for the outdoors. And recently, when I came to pick up the ladders, I didn't realize that you had ventured out on your own adventure. Talk to us about where you were around New Year's.
Yeah. So, and it's funny, you honestly were one of the people that made me excited about trying out a camper van. I was a Boy Scout growing up. I've always liked camping, but I kind of feel like not quite middle-aged, but where I'm like, hey, camping's fun, but it can also be a big pain in the butt. So we decided a perfect quarantine type trip was we rented a scamper van. Big moving van, basically. Yeah, a conversion van. And we just drove all around the Southeast. It was mostly up to North Carolina, some North Georgia. We went up by Boone. We went up by Sugar Mountain. me and my wife had a great time. My dog loved it. That van, she didn't want to leave. Like, loved it, loved it, loved it. We were way, way, way high up, and then the winter storm warning started rolling through, and it didn't say there may be bad weather. It said there will be bad weather. Roads will be closed. They may be closed for several days. So we shot as far south as we could, and we ended up camping at Unicoi Gap. And about an hour before we got to Unicoi Gap, it just started coming down with snow. I've driven in the snow before, so I was pretty comfortable, but it still got a little weird at spots. We ended up camping in the van at Unicoi Gap. It got down to like 8 degrees that night. And unfortunately, one of the windows on the camper van was broken. Speaking of MacGyver, duct tape fixed that. So we had to duct tape the window shut. But then every 4 hours, I would wake up and crank the van, get it nice and hot, and then go back to bed. And all night, rednecks would drive up to the parking lot we were staying in. They would do like 15 donuts, start screaming like, wow, and then they drive away. And it happened like 6 or 7 times. The first time we're scared. We're like, what is going on? And then after that, we're like, oh, the rednecks are back. It's fine.
Now, Nate, this has been your first, I guess, foray into camper vans.
Yep.
You've driven in the snow before. How does it handle differently? I mean, I know some of them are not 4x4. The one that we have is not. They're usually rear-wheel drive, and when you add that much weight, you kind of have to be cautious about, like you're saying.
Yep.
Did you guys have snow tires? Did you air down, the tires so that they got more traction? Did you ever run into anything you can share for folks like that? Because I know during the wintertime that is a massive concern, and I hope not a deterrent, which is what I've heard, in addition to, oh, we don't have a heater, but we're solving all those problems. There's solutions to all the problems.
Yeah,
but just share a little bit about, I guess, the difficulty in driving up there, or especially the familiarity on a rental.
Yeah. So what helps a ton was just it had sport shift. If we didn't have sport shift, it would be very, very hard. So sport shift is basically, I know how to drive a stick shift, but if you don't, it's essentially how you can drive a stick shift in a car without a clutch. So you can put it in first gear and keep it in first gear. So the benefit of that is it helps keep you from spinning out quite so easily. So if it's snowing, you never want to have your tires spinning. As long as your tires are rolling, even if it's on ice, you've got a little bit of traction, a little bit of steer. If you are spinning out, then you have no control whatsoever. So my parents are from St. Louis, so I shout out to Neil from St. Louis. I moved here in '96 from St. Louis as well. But we learned a little bit on snow. Anytime it snowed and we were up in St. Louis, my dad would be like, get in the car. We're going to go drift around a parking lot a little bit so you can learn how to steer into a turn. So some of it's just familiarity. Snow is not hard to drive on if you know what to expect. So if you start drifting to the left, you don't just lock up your brakes because you're just going to keep drifting. So you kind of have to learn to turn into a skid until you recover, and then you can come back to the right. If you just try to turn to the right, you're just going to keep skidding. With ours, at one point the cops had the road shut down because some people had crashed. But yeah, we just kept it in low gear. We kept it at a reasonable speed, and most importantly, with snow, it doesn't matter how far apart you are. You got to have enough room that if you did skid, because the guy in front of you stops, you've got room to stop too. So we gave it just a really big space. We kept it nice and easy, and I loved it. I thought it was fun. It's a nice change of pace from the normal drive. So I like variety in my life. It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
So one of the things that I'm having a little bit of difficulty trying to chat or approach or discuss is, you mentioned you guys had a good time. Of course, your dog loved it more. Our dog, a mascot that many of you have seen on the show, Rascal, loves jumping in the van and coming with us wherever we go. But my girlfriend wasn't so fond, or isn't yet, at least mentally, getting out there. What kind of things did you have to share with your joy to be able to, say, this is how we're spending it? I don't care that it's 8 degrees outside. It's going to be amazing. And what kind of feedback or little tidbits could you provide for a guy who's doing his best to do some persuasion?
Absolutely. So it helped. We went to Banff, Canada in February. So we were she'd never been somewhere super, super cold before. So we learned pretty quick, When you're from Georgia, you tend to get cold because you don't really have cold weather stuff. It turns out, 8 degrees sounds really cold. It is. But if you're prepared for 8 degrees, it's not that bad. So like we had really warm clothes on. We had lots of blankets. Anywhere we walked, we had leggings on, like thermal underwear on underneath. We had 3-4 layers. And so if you're not cold and miserable, the winter's fine. Winter's nice, and more importantly, camping in the winter kind of sucks because if you're cold, snowy, maybe a little wet all day, you get back to the tent and you're just cold and snowy and wet in a tent. With the van, you turn on the heat and you've got a really hot, toasty area. We had our little stove set up to, it was hot chocolate, hot tea, hot coffee every night. So that helps too. Lots of chocolate always helps, Amrit. But and then we had like a little Jiffy Pop kettle corn. So it was all about having hot treats and making sure you have lots of clothing on for the winter weather. If you're dressed for the winter, it's not that big of a deal.
One of the pieces that we're outfitting right now is our diesel space heater actually in the van and tying it directly to our tank. Luckily, I don't know that the Ram ProMasters that the Scamper have are diesel. I think those are actually regular unleaded fuel, but diesel heaters pull straight from the tank, and you just got to be okay tapping into it. And then it's a parking heater essentially, so you don't have to be running the vehicle and can always have that going. So one of the caveats, but I'm currently going through the analysis paralysis on where to put it, how to cut through the floor and make sure that like a turret plate, because those puppies get hot. Nate, thank you so much. I feel like we need to catch up properly in person. I don't know, if we can do that distantly from a fire or maybe a van trip or something like that. But would love to hang out with you proper. And thanks so much for being on this show and sharing all of your creative hobbies. Continue to do so. And I must say, as you mentioned, like it was kind of our show or my decision to get the van that kind of pushed you. Much of my ability to tackle all these projects, I honestly am saying, would Nate do this? Would, if anything. So if you get a call late night one night, it's because I will not go to bed before that is finished, and I might just need another perspective.
I gotcha.
So, so thank you so much. Anything else you want to share with our viewers before we let you go, Nate?
No, I'd say just if you're thinking about doing a project, probably go for it. Just set aside twice the time you think you need. Twice the time, and you'll be fine.
Because today is National Bagel Day, I figure I've got one more in the tank over here. Why does nobody want to work at a bagel shop?
I don't know.
Because it's just a crummy place to be. With that, Nate, I hope you enjoy the rest of your Friday. I got to get these ladders back to you soon, but thank you so much for being with us this evening, and all the best with your adventures. And happy National Hat Day! Absolutely. Folks, as you can see, there is no bounds to adventure. If you guys want to go back and take a look at our very 4th episode when we chatted with David Clapper, the founder of Scampervan, you will see why these are so in demand. Let's take a look. For those interested in taking a look, Scampervan is available in both Atlanta and Asheville. And again, you can take a look at our conversation with David Clapper, the founder of Scampervan, in our 3rd episode. All right, folks, we're coming up on the end of the show. One more reminder of the reason why we are here, and that is encouraging folks to donate to this month's charity, hopeforjustice.org. But as we come up on the end of the show, well, you might know what time it is. It's time for the state of Nirvana. All right, guys, as you can see, we just have a lot of energy today. Anytime you talk with creatives or wonderful people with good vibes and just sharing it, how can you not be excited? So today we have a lot of progress that's been going on with the van. We actually took it out on a wonderful road trip up to North Carolina sometime, 2 weekends ago. We didn't share these pictures with you, but our van is making progress. It was about 16 degrees up in North Carolina when we went there, so we know she is handling the cold really, really well. But one piece of equipment that I would highly encourage you to look at, whether it be your vehicle, your van, your truck, it does not matter, are those portable chargers that you can keep in your car. They look like the size of your cell phone. They have the USB ports on them. You can charge them at home, and then you can put them directly connected to a jump. And if you're out stranded in the wilderness or something like that, which we would never want in the cold, especially, it helps you give a little boost to your battery. So we actually had that there and did need it out on the road, but it was because of that we were able to capture this glorious sunset just after we were able to restart the van prior to the sun going down. So that was supremely exciting. But another thing that's been going on was the last couple of days, we actually ventured out to a couple different hardware stores. For those of you who are not familiar with Grainger, Granger, different than the big box stores, they are where we are sourcing because we are onto our roof racks. As much as we have discussed that we are in eager anticipation of our solar panels, which we are awaiting coming from Bouge RV all the way out in China, but we didn't want to take any more time to wait to finish the installation. So those solar panels, they should be in probably later this month, but how we were going to affix them hadn't really been fully thought out. So while we went over to Grainger, we have ordered now aluminum, 10-foot aluminum strut that we are going to bolt directly into the roof. Thought we were done drilling into the van, but we're not. So a couple more opportunities for some leaks, but using some Sikaflex and some butyl tape, we're hoping that that will not be any issue whatsoever. So what else has been going on with Nirvana? Well, when we got Nirvana, it was obviously a used vehicle. She's 15 years old and really 15 years old of beauty, but she is constantly growing, and we only had one key. Well, another thing that you want to think about, like we're talking about some of these fail safes, because January is National Safety Awareness Month, is having another key. So while I only had one key fob, I was really at a loss of what may happen in the event of us locking out the key or the battery dying or something occurring. So the plan is to kind of bolster one, hide one outside the vehicle in some place, but to get those keys cut at a dealership was quoted as $350. So doing a little bit of internet research, some YouTube sleuthing, a couple orders on eBay, and today I ventured out to the wonderful... And over at Ace Hardware, they took our key blanks, and for just $2... And so Jules today was very grateful in passing it through her key cutter, and for 1%, what a fraction of the cost of what the dealer would charge, 1%, we were able to get new keys for Nirvana. So this is absolutely key cut, doesn't have the fob, but all in about $6. When you get a key to turn that was cut, that didn't need a chip and didn't cost you $250 from the dealer, you're pretty ecstatic when you put her in the ignition and it starts up. Nirvana basically had no issues with that key cut. So thanks so much to Jules and the Ace Hardware in Atlanta. But a few more things that are coming. Like I said, the aluminum struts, when they're here, we're going to get bolted down. So keep tabs on that this upcoming week. And then hopefully we can finish the installation up in the ceiling and then continue on with the build. So folks, thank you so much. We're coming up on the end of the show. We encourage you to join us here again next week for more updates. We will be back here on Friday, January the 22nd, right back, not 22nd. Does that even make sense? 22nd? 22nd? That's funny. 22nd, back at 7 p.m. We might even be outside again. It's starting to warm up a little bit in Atlanta, so maybe we'll get back by the fire or show off some of these pieces back in the van. But I wanted to say thank you all for joining us again and opening up your homes and welcoming us into yours each and every week. Back here next Friday, January the 22nd. Today, I'm going to leave you guys with something a little bit humorous, but van life is all about tongue in cheek and having a good time. It's not so glorious as maybe the Instagram pics may come out to be, but hopefully you guys can enjoy this little guilty pleasure by some YouTube creators and shot and edited. But stay safe out there, wear your masks, say hey, and be kind to one another out there amidst the pandemic, but continue to stay positive and test negative. And we will see you back here for Camp Quarantine Week 36 on January 22nd. Happy National Hat Day, guys. Stay safe.
If that ocean did cocaine, and I am living on an island on a highway in the desert. I met my lover in Seattle, neath the fresco of aluminum. Traveling is standing still, and we live in a van.
Van life, it's life in a van. Boring old life, but look, we're in a van. Van life, automatically poetic, like a shirt follow if you like our aesthetic. Van life, are you jealous yet? We found a dog named Rabies and now we have a pet. Van life, food runs out tomorrow, like it, share it, follow. Before there was a van, there was a man named Dan. 300 followers and saving for a house. Dan went to Burning Man and had a revelation. Now my name is Plymouth, I'm the god of transportation.
My name's Persephone. It's not Stephanie. Don't read my driver's license. My name is Persephone. Cereal's my favorite. Yay, tricks! Sometimes for a week, I only eat ham.
Van life, not enough space, so we dance with our hands and we don't have a bathroom. Van life,
Hard to lure an ice pack, then it fell on rabies. Hashtag very old.
van life,
We don't believe in money, so buying food is hard and we're starving to death.
van life.
Hitchhiker orgies, afterwards we rob them. That's how we buy gas.
Drug break.
Staring at the sun, we become breatharians. We run out of food, but you stare directly into her rays. You want me to eat anything for 3 more days. We haven't eaten anything and look into the light. You can chew the light, look into my hands. And start turning into chicken and waffles. The chicken's getting away, Persephone.
No!
Grab the chicken. Here, take the shovel, hit it on the head.
Oh my god.
Drain the blood, crack its neck.
I'm trying.
Why is it wearing a bandana?
So chewy and delicious.
We're eating a human.
Put your oily finger on my manicured mug. Push it down hard until it makes a thud. 1 time, 2 times, then we get a heart. I have diarrhea, let's go over at the Walmart.
Van life, get out of my way. I have to take a shit and I've been driving all day. Van life, put the camera away. What the fuck, Persephone?
I'm literally shitting.
Van life, sweet release. We're going blind for fun, gazing and eating people. Van life, see how easy that was? We don't need a bathroom, we're living the dream.
Everything is perfect, everything is fine. Driving blind is practical and we don't need hitchhikers. Warrant out for our arrest, just kidding, life is grand. Like a chariot falling because we live in a van. What are we gonna do with the body?
We eat them, Persephone. We eat people. Van life.
I'm your slave.